What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to a dope video. Today I'm going to be teaching you one of my favorite controls as of late. This is the Bluff Dribble Shift. It's sort of like a bluff pass, but it uses the dribble to kind of hide it. It's a really nice control, smooth, easy to do, and it looks really great, really fair, has some really nice subtleties involved, and I really like it. At the end of this video I'll give you a couple little cool ideas that you can add on to this control, but without any further ado, let's get right into the Bluff Dribble Shift. Alright guys, so let's have a look at this control. I'm using the OVO Playboy cards that I recently reviewed. If you have not seen that, go check it out. They're a pretty sweet little deck. Let's have a quick demo with this control. Spectator call stop wherever they'd like. In this case, it's the King of Clubs. Clearly leave that into the middle of the deck. If I snap my fingers, one card jumps to the top. And that, of course, is the King of Clubs. It's time for some exposure on this control. A card is selected right here. Card is left in the middle of the deck. Everything is dribbled on top, and then that card comes back to the top. Alright, so time for the breakdown. This is a great little control, similar sort of mechanics to the bluff pass. So what you're going to do, you start by dribbling the cards and have a card selected. Now you're going to push that card over with the left thumb if you're right-handed and tilt that face up and clip that with the index finger. Okay, so you're holding everything in middle grip. If you need a tutorial on how to dribble cards, go check that out. So you dribble, they say stop, you push over, and this is a free choice, they say stop whenever they want. You push over, and then this finger is going to extend and clip that card so it's right against the deck. Now you want this to be even, you don't want it to be down here, you don't want it to be up here, but nice and even with the deck. And I'd say at about the halfway point when you look at it this way. So it's, see the deck is on about halfway, so it's not all the way out here, it's not all the way here, but it's right on about halfway. And this is how you display the card, all right? And this is going to give you a great justification to ditch this packet. So now this packet, we're going to ditch everything but the top card. So how you do that, as you push over here, your hands are going to twist, right? So they make this sort of twisting motion. So that this hand comes over, and then it comes back. Right? So over and then rotates back as this hand comes back parallel. So you see this hand turns as this one comes down to grab it, this one comes up to show it, and then as this one turns back to even, this one turns back to even. And as that happens, they kind of meet. And you'll see from the exposed view without the card, they meet sort of back on top of each other like that, right? So you go like this to do the transfer, and then they meet back on top. So how that looks, right? They come here, and then they meet, and they're back lined up over top of each other. When you get to that point, you essentially drop everything. You just release this back thumb, drop everything but the top card. Now that's pretty easy to do. It just comes down to feel, right? So it's just like this, boom. Now you don't want to really drop it from up high like this. It's more of a right close, right? It's just very close, and it just drops. And now all of that is hidden by this top card here. So come, boom. And now it just happens like this, right? You can just even place it. You don't have to drop it at all. You just have to come right over top so they meet. And again, without that card, they meet, and then you let go. So just some more tips on letting go. You're just basically relieving pressure. The thumb starts to roll up, right? Roll up, and you'll just roll up until you get that last card. So it's almost like you're dribbling, right? The thumb rolls up until the last card, but you do it all in one motion. And then you just catch that last card. Now sometimes you might catch, like I just did there, a couple of cards, and you just have to let the last few go. Come to there, do the move, come back, and as those hands come together, you release everything but the top cards. Now you're in this position. This card's in middle grip, this is over top. So you can see you're pretty good on all angles, because even the side, you can't see how many cards are there. From this angle, the hand's hiding it. And then so you just have that window in there, but they're just seeing straight on, so they don't know how many cards you have. So this is really good from a lot of angles. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this card and flip it back over using this one card, what they think is a packet, to leverage it over. So you're just using it to leverage and turn it back over top. Now as this happens, you're coming forward a little bit, and you're going to kick up this packet to re-grip everything to make it look like you still had that packet in your hand. Now the important thing here is if you just do it and you keep straight, right, you keep everything lined up, they're going to see this big motion. So you come forward to block the front of the deck as this thumb pushes everything up. So So all that they see is just a slight little movement of the thumb, but that's nothing that will be perceived. Okay, so your forward, that comes up. So now you're in this position like this. And then you just slide this back on top and pick up everything. Okay, so boom, boom, I ditched. I'm putting it over, and then I come forward as this happens, and you can see straight on it's covered, but this way it's very much covered. So if you do it this way, you have a ton of cover, but I do think at a certain point it's not as clean, right? To be all the way over here, it really looks like you're trying to hide everything that's happening. So a little turn is fine, but I don't think you want to go overkill with that. Like I usually would do it just from straight on, so I come like this, and it looks really clean, right? And it feels more open. Now obviously from this angle, I mean, if you do it fast enough, it can be okay, but there is the moment where they'll see this kind of thing happen. And so if you tilt down a little bit, it can help. It's sort of a 90 degree to maybe even like 125, 130 degree sort of angle, and it's kind of off and to your right over here, off in front of you and to your right. And you can, to a certain extent, start to get into doing it a little bit more exposed, like over this way, and you can see it's still pretty invisible, but up to a certain point. Once you get completely on that 180, it becomes a little bit harder to hide. So again, we're dribbling, pushing this off, and twisting the hands and clipping this. And then as we come back to position, these will line up, right? So this is all going to be very natural, right? It's just naturally justified. Our hands would happen to come back together. Now when this lines up, that's when we do the ditch. And they shouldn't really see anything from the top, right? There's nothing to really see as you let the cards go. You just do that very quickly, and then they get their card, leave their card in the middle, and this instantly comes forward to shade the front edge of the deck. As this thumb kicks up roughly half, you just kind of feel it, doesn't really matter how much, just a chunk. And then this comes back onto that chunk. And just as that's happening, now I like to rotate to this exposed side. So that's kind of one fluid motion. So this comes forward, and then I rotate as I'm coming back. I rotate to this exposed side, and I time it up so it looks like I had that full chunk in my hand the whole time. And just as I get a grip of that chunk, I immediately start dribbling. But I want to be, exposed here and have them see and remember that's their card and everything's covering it. Sometimes I even like to pause here. So I'll come do this, and I'll say, look, you can see that's your card there, and we'll leave it in the middle. So pause, point, and then dribble everything on top. And obviously that's going to control their card second from top. So at this point, you would just come in and do a double lift, and you have the control, and you can use maybe the KM move to ditch that double. And if you don't know what that is, essentially you're just coming to the edge here and clipping the top card with your fingers as you pull this bottom card out and move the top card back on top. And if you just turn your angle a little bit and kind of rub this with the thumb, it looks very clean, very justified, and you can ditch that double. So depending on your use case, you can take the 3 of diamonds, rub it like that, and then you've cleaned up your double. If you're using this in the case where a double is advantageous, that's great, and you can use it for that too. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, you might be thinking, this is awfully fast for them to get a glimpse at their card, right? You don't have a lot of time. So you can do this, pause in this position, sort of say, you see the 7 of hearts, and do the rest of the move there. Now there's 2 different ways you can do this. You can go ditch and then kind of hold while you've already ditched the packet and show them here, and I think that is fine because all their attention will be here. They won't really notice. You can't even tell really how many cards are in my hand as long as I'm holding this at sort of the eye line, and this card is blocking that there's only 1 card in my hand. So you can hold at this point and then flip over and do the rest of the control, or you can actually come away with that block still and then just in one smooth motion dump that on as you flip everything over, right? So there's those 2 options. I like to do it as I'm rotating. I immediately do the dump because I think there's a really nice sort of you get the card from here, and then you've already ditched everything, right? There's no strange, I'm over here showing them the card and then I come back, do something, and then go. But again, you shouldn't. If you choose that method when you have the block and you show them, you say the 6 of hearts, it's a drop and a flip all in one motion, right? So I'm from here, dropping and flipping, right? And I just have my 1 card. So that all happens in one smooth motion. As I come back, I kind of come to near the top, drop it, and as I've dropped it, now I'm sliding this card instantly and flipping it over, and I've ditched the packet. So there's sort of 2 motions you can do it in, either drop it, show, and you've already done the move like that, or drop it, show with the block, and then you drop the block off and flip in one motion. So it depends on your preference. I don't think one's particularly better than the other. I just personally like doing this and ditching it right then. It gets a bit of the heat off right away, right? But then you're a little bit more dirty when you're showing the card, but again, I think the attention's on the card there, so you'll be pretty fine. So let's jump into the subtleties really quick. Something I think is really important is sort of a justification for why this thumb is going to shoot up when you're re-adding that packet to the single card. So as that hand shoots up, again, it's pretty well hidden. What I like to do is just do a quick square before I dribble. So now what it looks like to the audience is that this thumb is, if they happen to see, juts up here just to give the packet a little square, right? Instead of just this and dribbling right away and there's just this random thumb motion as I come over and I come back to the exposed view. Remember, I think that sort of turn is really, really nice, where you come cover the front and you turn just as you square everything up, and then use this thumb to square the side, and that's sort of the reason why your thumb moved from here to here, was to give it a little square. And in that same breath, like that body turn is a great subtlety, turning slightly away as you do the ditch, but like I said, not too much. I usually do this straight on, but a little subtlety you can do is just turn slightly, gives you a little bit better coverage if you're still learning this. And then as you do that, turn into view, like turn so it's exposed just as this is all happening. As all this is, coming back and being squared, I'm turning, so just at the moment when it's squared on top and it looks like I've been holding this block the whole time, they clearly see that. And then I even like a little subtlety of pointing. I say, all right, so that's your card. It really emphasizes to them that they remember, they just saw their card go there, that's their card, and now they see it buried by a bunch of cards, and there's no way that it could be on top or second from the top in this case. So I think that point and turning back into view and really exposing it and milking that moment, taking the time to, I also slow down the dribble too, so they see every card fall on top. I really, really like, they see every card. So what that looks like at a bit of speed, they call stop. I can show them their card here, the 7, make sure they get it into view here, and I clearly, they can see it be placed into the middle. That's your card right there. And I slowly dribble everything, and now there's no way their card could be on the top, but of course it is. In terms of some body language with this, it's just about being smooth. So whether you choose to do the ditch right here, or if you choose to come away, show them, and then as you come back, you ditch everything and do this in one motion. Either way, it's got to be smooth. You come here and it's a smooth drop as you show this card and you're cleaned up, or it's a show them here, smooth drop, and come down and do it. So there's two sort of, again, times you can do it, and I like both of them equally. I don't want to see any of that as you ditch the cards like jerky quick motions. So now for some uses and other ideas. One thing I love to do with this is a drip double from this control. So I do a dribble, let's say the 3 of diamonds here, and I'm going to execute the control. You can see your card left there, we'll leave it in the middle, but actually if I just wave my hand, the card jumps straight to my hand. So that's really nice, and it fits really well with the context. So a drip double, if you don't know, is just dribbling the cards and stopping when you have a double. So that's just something, it's a knack, it takes a bit of practice, but building that feel. If you already have the feel, if you can do a strike double where you can feel 2 cards, and you're like, all right, I know I have 2, then you'll be pretty good at this. All you're doing is you're dribbling, and again, that thumb is slowly rolling off cards, right? Off the bottom, keep going up, 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 and then eventually you'll have 2 cards. Sometimes there'll even be a small break in between the cards, and then you'll know you have your 2 cards, and their card will be the one on the face. So again, it just takes a little practice. You roll that thumb up from the tip all the way off, and then eventually you'll feel that you're like, okay, I've got 2 cards, and it's just about building that feel, and then you just stop. You hold it. See, in this case, there's a little bit of a gap there, but I know I have 2 cards. Now, the nice thing is, when you catch your drip double, you can kind of rotate your grip. So you straddle it with the index and pinky, bring the thumb to the center, and then you pivot it with the index finger down, and now the thumb does like a Stuart Gordon, comes down from the top, down the face as you flip the card over. So again, you dribble, catch the double, straddle, thumb comes back to the middle, index finger is going to press that edge down, and now you're in a basically Stuart Gordon position. You have the middle finger and ring finger on the bottom, thumb on top. Now the index finger applies pressure at the back as the thumb slides down the front of the card like this. That's, you know, going slow, it's a little bit difficult to show, but if I go at a better speed, you can see how that kind of looks. This is also great in my ambitious card routine, so I'll use that a lot with the drip double, right? It's a great opening control I love to use, so I'll, you know, show them that card clearly going into the middle, and I'll come here, Stuart Gordon, and they can see it jump back, and I love the visual where they see it go into this pile, and then all of a sudden it just, you know, you're dribbling here and boom, it just pops without even touching the deck up into this hand. Do your Stuart Gordon, get your flip, and now you're ready for phase 2 because you have a double, you push that into the middle, and once again it comes to the top. So I love that in that case. Another little thing I thought of with the drip double, as you're doing it, if you get your thing here, you can slightly just, you know, use the thumb and middle finger to re-grip. You know, you place that in, re-grip, instead of doing this straddle adjustment thing that I showed with one hand. I'll often do that actually. I'll get my drip double, I'll slightly readjust as I place it into this hand so then I can come over top. Alright guys, so that is it for the Bluff Dribble shift. Awesome little control. I hope you guys like it and some of my ideas and subtleties on it. Just some of the important things, you know, make sure some of those subtleties I talked about. So as you come into view and everything happens, that you do your ditch either here at the second point, just make sure it's smooth, slide down, flip over, and then you come forward to use this back of the card to block everything. Make sure this back keeps at eye line. You don't ever flash the side so they can tell that there's only one card. You keep your middle grip tight over the front, you know, all fingers on the front, thumb over the back, hand covering this side. So the only side you could expose is this one, so as long as you don't expose that one, come forward, push everything up with the thumb. As you start to rotate into the exposed view, you line up everything. Square, that's your justification for the thumb coming up. Then you can even gesture, that's their card there, and really slowly milk this moment where they can see their card being fairly placed into the middle, and you're so far ahead. So that's one of the reasons I love this control. Practice it, let me know what you guys think. If you need any help with this control, any other moves, anything magic mentalism related, send me an email, rfsleights@gmail.com, and we can get a private lesson going. I would absolutely love to help you guys out with that. Let me know in the comments any other controls or moves you guys would like me to make a video on, or anything else like that. And yeah, I want to welcome all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for 2K. We finally hit that. I'm very, very excited, very happy for that. It's been a long journey, you know, really means a lot, and you know, we're gonna keep grinding, get to 3K next, and then so on. So it's you know, it took a while to get the first 1,000, took a lot less to get the second, and hopefully even less to get the third. And yeah, with all that said, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.